If there's one person you never want to pick a fight with, it's a vegan. And that may sound crazy, but trust me, you'll think the same thing after you hear what happened to me just a couple weeks ago when I interacted with one. What exactly happened? Well, let's start from the beginning. You know that feeling when you get a craving so bad that nothing else will satisfy it? Well, this was me with Chipotle last month. I was thinking about it so much that it started to feel like a mental illness. Like it didn't matter what was going on in my day, that was the only thing I could think about. I'm driving the car. What's on my mind? Chipotle. I'm talking to my mom. What's on my mind? Chipotle. I'm taking a dump. What's on my mind? Chipotle. It was the only thing on my mind. So I decided I was gonna get it for dinner that night. But here's the thing. I was already having the worst day ever. My alarm clock didn't go off in the morning because for some reason, I typed 6 into the calculator app rather than the clock app, and I was supposed to get on a flight that day, which is why I was waking up so early, but did I miss it? Of course, because without an alarm, I didn't wake up until 10 a.m. when that flight was already long gone. And during lunch that day, I managed to spill coffee all over my white shirt. And the funny part about that is, I literally never wear white. This was like the one day a month where I actually wore the color white, and of course this happened. Never spilled coffee on my shirt before this, by the way. So for the rest of the day, any slight minor inconvenience just made me way more frustrated than it should have. The only thing that could make this day better was that beautiful Chipotle bowl I was craving. All I could think about was my order. Double chicken bowl with white rice, pinto beans, corn salsa, cheese, 500 pounds of queso, which I think is just a fancy way of saying cheese, and a mountain of guacamole that could put my whole family into debt. So I'm driving to Chipotle, already thinking about that first bite in my mind. But as I pull into the parking lot, I see something straight out of a Saturday Night Live skit. At least 30 protesters outside Chipotle with enormous signs blocking the entrance. And these weren't just regular picket signs, no. They were huge poster boards with super disturbing images. One sign had a cow with tears running down its face and words that said, "I had a family," painted on it in what looked like it was supposed to be blood. Like, yeah, buddy, and I have an empty stomach. Looks like one of us won't be going home happy today, and it ain't gonna be me. After seeing that, I realized what I was up against. Vegan protesters. I was honestly impressed with how creative some of them were. Like, these protesters had real futures in creative design if they wanted to go that route. And when I first got there, it kind of made me smile more than anything. Because although I knew these protesters really didn't want anyone to go inside Chipotle or eat the meat, I didn't realize just how serious they were about it. Like, these protesters came prepared for war. They had these megaphones chanting slogans about how meat is murder and dairy is scary. By the way, I may or may not be slightly stupid because I didn't even know that vegans don't eat dairy. I still don't really understand how that one works. Like, what's wrong with having some milk? Doesn't that just come from the cow doing the, you know, thing with its udders? That doesn't harm the cow, does it? I have no idea. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about this, please. But back to these crazy people. There was a man with this group of protesters that had this super professional looking camera that looked like it belonged to the news channel. And he was filming anyone who chose to get close to that Chipotle front door, which I'm guessing was an attempt to make potential customers feel embarrassed and not go inside. And it worked, because as I was watching from my car, I watched an older couple try to navigate the chaos and go inside. But the second they approached, the protesters got way more hostile. They shoved the cameras in their face and the protesters got way more rude. So after a couple seconds of trying, they decided it wasn't worth the hassle and they just went somewhere else. Can a couple not get a burrito in peace anymore? Now it started to go from pretty entertaining watching these protesters to a little bit scary, because as I'm stalking them, enjoying watching every moment, I see something shocking when a girl with bright green hair pulls a spray can out of her pocket and sprays "meat is murder" on the sidewalk. She did it right outside the Chipotle while all her other accomplices cheered her on. Inside the restaurant, I could see nervous looking employees that were definitely thinking something like, "I do not get paid enough to deal with this." And honestly, stuff like this is the main reason why I just became unemployed. You don't have to deal with this when you don't have a job. I'm such a disappointment. What made these protesters really intimidating was their organization. They almost created a complete blockade where getting into the Chipotle meant you either had to navigate around 30 people or just push straight through all of them. Lucky for me, I was in my car, so I revved my engine and started driving straight toward them like bowling pins. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that, okay? Did I want to? That's another story. Like I said in the beginning, I was craving Chipotle that day, and nothing was gonna stop me from getting it. And also, this may sound weird, but I enjoy situations like this. I've always been a rage baiter to my core, so this felt like the perfect scenario to use that. I have nothing against vegans, but I also didn't necessarily agree with the way they were going about it, so I was super excited to interact with them. Before getting out of my car, I did weigh my options and think about going somewhere else. I was like, okay, there's a Subway right down the street I can go to, and they for some reason keep adding random foot-long things to the menu, like cookies and pretzels. But hey, Subway, I have an idea. how about you just make the damn sandwiches a foot long again? Because I've taken my ruler there before, and they definitely don't seem like they're 12 inches anymore. There was also a McDonald's down the street, but I didn't really want to catch the fade from Grimace, so I knew there was only one place for me that day. The protesters thought they were scaring people off from going inside Chipotle with their intimidation tactics, but they hadn't met someone with my level of stupidity yet. What the vegans didn't realize is that standing between my Big Mac and the food I'm craving is like trying to stand in between a toddler and an iPad. It's not something you want to mess with. So from my car, I scouted out the restaurant. There wasn't a single customer inside there at the moment, just the Chipotle employees standing idle at the counter, spectating what was going on outside. Contemplating my next move, I spotted a guy trying to be slick. He thought he could outsmart the protesters by going through the side entrance. But the second he approached that door, two protesters spotted him as if they had some sort of meat eater radar. Whoa, pause! The vegans celebrated their victory, giving each other high fives. But little did they know, their biggest challenge yet was coming up. Their confidence visibly grew after turning this guy around. All of a sudden, their chants were a little bit louder, their chests were puffed out more. They genuinely believed that they were preventing anyone from eating meat that day. But do they know that the animals at Chipotle are already dead? Someone might want to let them know that, I'm just saying. But after observing them for a while, I was ready to try making my way inside. But I needed a plan. A strategy. But that's when I thought of the brilliant plan to walk towards them, and as I'm about 10 feet away, start pretending that I'm about to throw up. Because if you've ever been near someone that's doing this motion, please don't clip that. But if you've seen someone doing that before, you only have one reaction, which is to get out of the way as quickly as possible. Is it quick or quickly? I don't even know if that's a word. I don't care. But that's what the protesters did. They stopped their chanting for a couple seconds and it turned into screams when they saw me looking like I was about to throw up the coffee that did make it into my mouth that morning. So I was just able to walk right through them to the front door. The workers saw me coming the whole way, and when I got in, they pretty much gave me a standing ovation. It felt like that scene in The Maze Runner where the door is slowly closing and the guy barely sneaks through it. Although the workers looked really happy with what they saw, unfortunately, the protesters did not react in the same way. Because when I got inside, I looked back at them and all their faces had a combination of shock, outrage, and disbelief. They were looking at me so disgusted, as if I was literally about to go slaughter a baby cow in front of their eyes just for my meal. And you would think once I got inside, the vegan protesters would just give up on me and focus on their next victims. But no, because they had a special surprise for me, waiting once I would leave that Chipotle a little bit later. So when I walked up to the counter to order, the worker gave me a little nod of respect, looking shocked that someone actually cared this much about getting a meal. I just know they were thinking, damn, you know how much of a big bag this guy must be to go through a group of protesters just for a Chipotle meal? My excitement for getting inside was shortly lived as I suddenly realized I was in a fishbowl, because everything I did inside Chipotle was observed from outside by the vegans. The guy with the huge camera was back filming me, which, by the way, that ain't cool, man. Like, he must know my biggest insecurity is people watching me eat, and the fact that I don't know how to keep a conversation with people. But have you ever tried eating a meal while people are recording you? It's scary. I mean, on one hand, it kind of did make me feel like a celebrity, but now I realize why celebrities hate paparazzi so much. No wonder Justin Bieber's always cooking them. When they were watching me and filming me eat, the only thing I could think is, damn, is this how the animal feels? I'm just playing. And by the way, I know I'm making jokes about animals, but I truly do love them.
I just love how they taste too, so I ain't gonna stop eating them.
But it's not like I want to hurt them. Like, I would never eat my dog. I love my dog. My cat, on the other hand, though. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna edit that part out. While I was eating, the manager, which was a middle-aged guy with a hairline that resembled a W, sat right next to me and looked like he just wanted someone to vent to. He said, "These protesters have been here since opening." So with my face full of beans, I said, "Oh, really? Has anyone eaten here then?" "No, you're probably like the 20th customer today." So then I asked him, "Why don't you guys try calling the cops or something? This feels very illegal." And he said they already tried that and they came earlier. But technically, everything they were doing was legal. I don't know about the spray paint part though. But they weren't on Chipotle's property, so as long as they stayed outside, they could basically do whatever they wanted. I do have to give the vegans some credit though, because as I was enjoying my chicken bowl, a protester pressed her sign directly against the window which said his name was Clarence. And it was a picture of a cow referring to the meat in my bowl. Well, luckily for Clarence, I ordered chicken, not beef, so he should be okay. Clarence did look delicious in that picture though. But like I said earlier, I am a rage baiter. It's my passion. I don't do it for laughs or anything like that. I just love the game. So as I'm eating, I decided to switch tables and move right next to the window where the only thing separating me from the protesters would be this little slab of glass. So they were super close to me. And when I would take a bite of my food, I would react like Guy Fieri does when he tries literally anything for the first time, acting like I just had the most delicious meal of my life. I was literally like this every bite. That's good. The protesters' attention was now half focused on me and half focused on preventing anyone else from coming inside. I don't know why they were wasting their time doing this though. These people were so good at blocking that they could have been offensive linemen in the NFL. My 49ers sure could have used them this year. Like, let me see your best three-point stance. Maybe we got a job for you. After finishing my meal, I knew it was going to be tricky to go outside and get back to my car now, because the moment I left, all their attention would be on me. Little did I know just how ferocious these vegans would be, because I swallowed the last bite of that delicious chicken, glanced at the angry mob outside, and realized I had a real problem. My car was parked way across the lot, and there was no secret Diddy tunnel to get there. I was gonna have to walk straight through the vegan Hunger Games to escape. After trying to think of new creative, sneaky ways to get out, I realized I was just gonna have to face them. I couldn't do the fake throw up thing because they wouldn't fall for that twice. But then I was like, wait, maybe I could just actually throw up on them. I have a problem. I also thought about just putting some chicken in their face, hoping that that would terrify them, but that didn't seem like the best plan. So I just decided, I was like, you know what? These people aren't gonna actually harm me or do anything to me when I go outside. They might act all tough and intimidating, but I'll be fine. Or at least that's what I thought, because I got up, walked through that Chipotle door, and immediately the protesters swarmed over me like a seagull when you drop a French fry. A lady that probably pops up as the first image on Google when you search up the word Karen was the first one to get to me. She got super close to my face and in a condescending voice said, "How does it feel to harm innocent animals just for your meal?" You guys like my little mustache, by the way? I'm working on it. I can't tell if it makes me look awful or not, but let me know. The way she emphasized innocent in her sentence made it seem like I just betrayed every single cow on the planet. And I already told you guys, my plan was to just walk straight out of there, go to my car because they weren't gonna do anything to me. But I also said I do love rage baiting. And if you couldn't tell from watching my content already, I'm super sarcastic. I literally can't help it. You could put me at a funeral and I'm still gonna be that way. So when the lady said, "How does it feel to harm innocent animals just for your meal?" I looked her dead in the eyes, rubbed my belly, and said, "It felt great. I'm gonna do it again tomorrow." And there was a collective gasp by some of the protesters listening. The Karen's jaw dropped and her face turned red as if she just had an allergic reaction. A moment of silence just hung in the air, like in movies when someone drops a bombshell and the music just stops. And what happens after? Chaos erupts. Some guy with a man bun yelled, "He's proud to murder animals!" Then others started yelling crazy things like, "Animal abuser! Murderer!" I was honored to be roasted by them, but after listening to all their insults, I decided it was time to walk away. Or at least try to. Because when I attempted to leave, the scene shifted from humorous to genuinely scary. I knew they were upset about what I was saying and what I did, but I didn't realize just how much, because as I'm walking towards my car, they followed me like a swarm, repeating all their accusations at me. And everything they're saying was true about my character in GTA, but not me in real life. I realized I should probably walk quicker as these people were getting more aggressive. But as I sped up, I saw the green-haired spray paint girl running towards my car. And I could tell by the crazy look in her eyes that this wasn't just about making a point anymore. This was personal. I kept thinking about how quickly this all got out of hand simply because I'm a big troll and couldn't keep my dumb mouth shut. So I was speed walking to that car like my life depended on it, taking strides that were huge even for a guy like me that's 6'5". Don't try verifying that, by the way. Just take my word for it. I kept glancing over my shoulder, seeing these protesters not far behind me, and the moment I got to my car, I saw that girl with the spray paint shaking her bottle. I knew what she was gonna do. She was gonna spray paint something on my car. And listen, I'm down to get a new paint job. That would have been sick. But I'm guessing I wouldn't have wanted whatever she was about to write on my car. So when I saw that, I started to panic and my hands were shaking so bad that I dropped my keys when I was trying to open it. When I finally got the door open, I dove inside and slammed it shut as quickly as possible. Just as I thought I was safe, the vegans came right up next to my car. Remember how I said earlier it was time to treat them like bowling pins? Yeah. Well, this was the moment. No, I'm just kidding again. I would not do that. What I did instead is press the power on button in my car, trying to get out of there quickly before spray paint lady got to me. So I put the car in reverse and floored it. But as I'm doing that, something hits my windshield. I turn to look at it and I see that liquid is coming down. So I'm thinking, what was that? Then another cup struck my window. But I saw it coming this time and realized it was a dude throwing water cups at me. To whoever did that, if you're watching this video, I appreciate you. I needed a car wash anyway, so that was pretty clutch. But as much as I was enjoying the free car wash, I saw a green hair lady quickly approaching, and she had one mission: spray paint my car. Her eyes gleamed with determination, so I pressed on the gas, maneuvered around the protesters as if I was Charles Leclerc, and I got out of there. The green-haired vegan tried chasing my car, which, by the way, that kind of sounds like a superhero name. Maybe she should trademark that. But she ran out of stamina before she could get to me. Maybe if she got all her essential nutrients from normal food, she would have been able to keep up with me. I'm just saying. Once I got far enough, they gave up and went back to their normal protesting. So I definitely learned my lesson from this experience. Next time I see a vegan protest, bring a water gun filled with milk to scare them away.